I'm happy to say that Sam Morgan is here, Deputy Betting and Gaming Editor at The Sun. Very good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Nice to see you. I mean, this government is going from bad to worse. You know, not only have they now tried to basically sort of hobble the entire residential housing business, right? They've now gone after racing. We found out that the £51 billion black hole that Rachel Reeves has created, she wants to try and close by putting horse racing under the spotlight and raising the tax on it. Nick Timothy's got a big piece in the paper today on page 10. He's saying that she's going to turn a £4 billion British success story into a bit of a disaster. What's going on?
I mean, where is it going to end? I think you're going to be taxed for walking down the street soon, aren't you? Per step or something.
Exactly. Well, it's like there's more and more people who contribute nothing to the country, and those of us who do contribute, they're going to go, can we just squeeze you for a bit more?
Absolutely.
You
and
know?
I think Nick makes a really, really good point here on behalf of people who often don't have a voice in this, and that's the punters. Racing, everyone says racing doesn't exist without betting. Well, you need people to bet on it, and they're the punters, and it's their voice, I think, isn't heard anywhere near enough. He says here that this is going to be basically Labour getting rid of everyone's fun again. People can gamble responsibly on horses. It's an activity from the first time you go to a race course to, I read a story the other day, a father was saying about his dad, a grandfather in a care home, the way he stays mentally sharp is by studying the form every day. And, and it's his thing, it's a quid bet every day.
Loads of people love to do that, don't they?
On a lucky 15. And his kick is not winning loads of money or anything like that. It's just he gets a feeling get one over the bookies, really. You know, he knows the horses inside out, and that's his love of it. But with this proposal, we're going to see, well, we might see it go from 15% to 21%, and basically the
So it's not like they don't get any revenue from it already. They get a 15% levy on every single bet that's made.
Yeah, absolutely. The key government quote I saw about this was to bring it in harmonisation, basically, with online games of chance, if you like, the slot machines and things like that. The government said it was to cut bureaucracy, because you can then have one strand of taxing betting revenue, if you know what I mean. And I just don't really understand that. That doesn't cut it for me as an excuse to.
So what is their argument, that they don't need as many people to actually administer the tax?
Absolutely, yeah, that's it.
But that's a kind of mad explanation by only people who are bureaucrats, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we won't need 7,000 people. We only need 4,000 people. Well, why do you need anyone?
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's what's the knock-on effect of this? So as Nick rightly points out in his piece on page 10 today, you know, I'm lucky enough to have been to some yards. I remember going to Andrew Balding's in particular. These yards, he's a top trainer, right? Makes millions of pounds a year. He would be one who's worrying about this as well, for a knock-on effect for his owners. But the people who are employed, these places are like towns. You know, they have their own accommodation. They're often in sleepy rural villages where there's not too much going on apart from the local yard. As Nick points out here, if this was to come in, we'd see 2,750 jobs at risk in the first year alone.
Wow.
These people are specialised in what they do with horses. They know the animals inside out. You can't just let thoroughbreds to roam free in a field. They're not equipped for it. They're bred and designed to run and race. And if a racehorse doesn't want to run, he'll plant himself at the start and he won't run. You know, it takes specialist care to look after all these animals. And it's a big economy that supplies a lot of jobs for people. And then to just come in with a sweeping reform like this, seeing it as in the same category as someone who works in a roulette wheel and then just finishes their shift and goes off. You know, I'm not being snobby about people who get enjoyment out of bingo and things like that. And I think it's wrong for racing. One trainer in particular has come out and accusations he's been a bit snobby against how people like to spend their money in other aspects of betting. But racing's a completely different beast. These people do it 24/7 who work in the yards, and same for a lot of punters. You know, it brings people together at festivals. We've got York starting today, York Ebor Festival, one of the big flat race meetings of the year. Tens of thousands of people will be there throughout the week. It's a social gathering. It's an occasion. It's
it's a massive British pastime, isn't it?
Absolutely,
I mean, if you were to say, you know, name some of the things that Britain's sort of good at or famous for, and particularly when it comes to sport, you'd say horse racing, you'd say Royal Ascot, you'd say Cheltenham, you know, you'd say Aintree, the Grand National, all of that, because it's kind of embedded in your culture. For me, anyway. I mean, my father was not a big betting man, but we always, every year when we were kids, we would have bets on the Grand National, and I do it now with my own kids. You know, it's like one of those things that is part of a fabric of the nation, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you know, in essence, we're already seeing although this hasn't come in as proposed tax, which may or may not happen, top trainers are already losing horses to abroad. Aiden OBrien, the best flat trainer in the game, he's based in Ireland, but just last week he lost 2 of his big horses. They're going to go over to Hong Kong and Australia.
Right.
Why? Because they race for more money. And people can have a bet on them out there. The restrictions aren't the same out there, especially in Australia, where it's tied in more with the government, as opposed to several different bookies in this area, if you know what I mean. But if someone like Aiden OBrien is losing horses to people with deep pockets in foreign countries, I mean, the guys at the lower bottom of the ladder here who are scraping a living day in, day out on horses, they could be gone. They could be wiped out. You could have a whole class of trainer wiped out. And then what does that mean? Well, people who come in at the bottom ladder with ownership can't afford to get any horses because they can't get anyone training. And it just narrows the pool of everything.
It's such a short-sighted view, isn't it? But unfortunately, this government seems to have this short-sighted view of everything, because almost every one of their sort of tax incentives and tax initiatives has not done what they thought it would do. They haven't really raised the money that they thought they would raise. And so I assume this would be a similar problem, where if people were forced to pay more tax on every bet that they made, they would just make fewer bets, presumably, wouldn't they?
Well, that's one way of looking at it. Another, which bookmakers would point out, is the rise of the black market. And look, arguably not even a rise, it's already here. You know, the black market's massive, it's unregulated, it's untaxed, there's no protection for the punter whatsoever. If you have a dispute...
And what are these people that just operate online or something?
Yeah, absolutely. WhatsApp groups, Telegram, you just go on hey, can I have £100 on a horse or whatever? Yeah, sure. I mean, there's no promise you're actually going to get paid with these bookies either. So it's completely on the black market, and it's already here. You know, it's rising.
And what about betting companies that are based outside of the UK? Can they get away with not paying the tax, or how does that work?
Well, a lot of betting companies are based in Gibraltar, aren't they, for these very reasons? But ultimately, everyone here, if you have a bet on a British horse race, it's gonna come under this tax. I just saw a really interesting case study, just quickly actually. The Netherlands this year introduced a staggered tax hike on all betting to plug a £200 million black hole. It hasn't worked. What's happened? People are placing fewer bets. There's affordability restrictions that come in, tighter regulation on advertising. It's all chipped away at people having fun and people's desire to bother placing a bet. So what do? They either stop altogether, spend their time doing something else, which I can understand, or they go to the black market as well. And Gordon Brown, I know he came in recently as well, saying we should tax more. He cited America as an example for, I think they have 57% tax rate in some states out there, but it's totally different. In some states, a bookmaker can have a monopoly on the market, and it's new out there. It's like the gold rush out there, bookmaking, because it's been illegal for so long. So operators are willing to shoulder the heavy tax because they know they're going to get so many more people coming in and signing up. So they're like, that's our...
Because until that moment, they couldn't do it at all.
They couldn't have anyone, So they're like, OK, we'll shoulder the tax for now, because we know everyone who wants a bet is going to sign up with us. So we've already seen in 2 areas where this hasn't worked. Or in Gordon Brown's case, comparing it to a completely different... It's not a like-for-like case, essentially, you know what I mean? But in the Netherlands, it hasn't worked. I mean, it's not ultimately to say that it won't work here, but people will turn their back on the sport. And as I said at the beginning, racing doesn't exist without betting, but you need people to bet on it. And if they decide it's no longer worth it or too much hassle, the knock-on effect is huge. It reaches everyone.
It's a shocking state of affairs, but listen, Nick Timothy's piece in the Mail, in the Sun today rather, Rachel's racing tax will turn a £4 billion British success story into an also-ran. Ridiculous. It's just another ridiculous idea. Sam Morgan, great to see you. What's the big tip for York then? Have you got one for tomorrow?
Oh, do you know what? My best tip runs today. It's in the 3 o'clock. Lambourne won the Derby. He's not going to win today. There's a horse called Karmas, who's second favourite in the market. He's going to beat him. It's going to be a shock.
Oh, wow. OK. Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Sam Morgan, betting and gaming editor at The Sun. Thank you very much indeed.